Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day and making some good trades as per usual. Let's get right into it. We got some new weekly candles here on the SPY, QQQ, IWM, and the Dow Jones. So let's just take a look at those very quickly. So again, looking very bullish right now on the diamonds, -5 and the 17 on a dual band strength index. You have green money flow. View up is a little bit extended, but the momentum wave is also curling up. So you may have continued upside as we have seen today. Although we are extremely overbought now, we're very extended, and eventually we will get that pullback that we're looking for, and that pullback will tell us that pullback will tell us if it's going to be a buying opportunity or a take profit opportunity, and we're going to go lower in the markets. But so far so good on the weekly. -5 and a 17 on the SPY, increasing green money flow. Again, the melt up scenario is obviously looking significantly better now. So if we get any dip at all, it might be a very good buying opportunity. The QQQ is extremely extended as well, -4 and 11, increasing green money flow, extending momentum waves on the weekly, and small caps. So the small caps, a little bit of a different story. Obviously, not so much green money flow. We're trying to cross back in now. We got that green dot, and now we have a -5 and an 18 on the dual band strength index. So now the price should keep going in towards the negative numbers. On the daily time frame, you have a bit of a slowdown in terms of the momentum, and you can dig deeper onto the smaller time frames as well, especially on the S&P 500 and the triple Qs. When I get onto the smaller time frames, I think we're running just a little bit on some lower steam here. You can see the momentum waves could possibly start to curl in, but although this 1% update today definitely gave a boost to the markets to keep going higher and higher. Let me take a look. So the 1 hour, yeah, maybe you'll get a red dot soon, but again, no guaranteed of any pullback so far. Again, the IWM is still following my primary count, which is a rejection from this resistance box here, but it can extend further up and you can go higher. So again, don't be shocked to see if the price comes back in here. And if it does go past this this entry point that you got into your shorts, then that's your stop out, right? You just stop out and then you move on. Although right now we did get a nice little rejection, so maybe that's the beginning of wave one. We'll have to see if this is wave two. If not, this is just an extended C wave and it'll just go higher, right? Because the markets look like they're going higher right now, but tomorrow we got some news events. We got the Fed minutes. We'll have to see how the market reacts to that. But overall, the IWM looks like it's could be finished here. But if it starts to put consolidation, you could technically go higher and extend the wave two even more. All right, but if that's the case, then we might have to look at a bullish scenario on the IWM. Okay, so that's it for the time being. Let me just take a look at Wave Edge, see if we have any selling's hard. This is Bitcoin. Let me just get on to the S&P 500, the diamonds. Nothing new, to be honest. Nothing new so far. I think we got a little bit of selling on the triple Qs, or was it the diamonds? I think the diamonds on the 4 hour today got some selling. And again, we've seen this in the past, but it's again no guaranteed of any market reversal. But we'll see. We'll have to see, right? We'll take it day by day. We've seen a significant amount of buying at the lows here in the IWM, so that's probably why we're seeing such a big rally. We've been seeing a lot of dark pools as well, dark pool trades where they are exiting those triple leverage ETF longs, and that's usually when big money starts to get out. And again, it kind of makes sense. The markets have rallied essentially 14 to 12% in 2.5 weeks, and it's been a very impressive rally, right? But all good things come to an end, and there's a lot. You're starting to see perma bear people that are starting to flip bullish, right? So that kind of tells you what's going on in the market. But we'll have to see if that's a negative indicator, if it's a positive indicator. So far, everything seems to be going well. We can take a look as well. Again, we'll take a look at the bullish count. So this is the bullish count. Eventually, you'll come back into an ABC, and then you'll either find a bottom around these gap fills, or you might not even get to these levels right now because there's so much bullish sentiment in the market, right? So you might even just come back to 438, or maybe not even. Maybe you'll put a tiny wave too, right? Because everyone's just buying the dip nonstop. So just keep buying. maybe the price won't go down. But again, I'm anticipating eventually an ABC correction. Once it does start, you'll have to be careful to see if it's impulsive or corrective. If it comes down in an impulsive manner and like a wave one, and you just blow back through all these supports and all these gap fills, you just start to fill everything. All right, and then that might become an impulsive wave, and then you really need to be on crash alert. All right, you need to be careful because you can come back down in a wave three of a three, which is really, you don't want to get in front of that essentially. Other than that, we've come down and we've tagged this major trend line from the previous all-time high back down here to this previous pivot, and then that's essentially where we got rejected today. You can see on the smaller time frames we ran right into that level, and then the price just started falling. But again, that's just probably a natural area of rejection. So I wasn't too surprised there, and I was actually surprised that we got to this level so fast. I thought we would maybe do something like this, where we come up in a 1, and then come back in a 2, and then right here run into some resistance, right, and then you keep going in your wave 3, and then a 4 and a 5. But it just decided to do it all in wave 1, or potentially a wave 2, right? So we'll have to see. But overall, on the weekly time frame, I don't see anything negative. It's just a monthly that's showing terrible signs of a potential reversal. Obviously, everything has shifted on the monthly time frame on the Dow Jones, the SPY, and the QQQs. Everything, obviously, when you get a 10% pump or 15% pump in 2 weeks, that tends to start to move the monthly indicators. The IWM still looks terrible, and that's again what I'm doing my trade on right now. I'm not trying to get in front of too much of these these markets here. Let me take a look. We'll take a look at some individual names. Let's take a look at ROKU. ROKU is finally come up potentially to its endpoint in wave 1. So you might not get to this level here. You might just be finished in your 5th of a 5th. So this might be finished because you just hit the double top area at ROKU, and you got a little bit of a rejection, and you got bearish divergence. If you start to come back down, then you'll want to look for an ABC, right? And then once that finishes, you might come back down to these gap fills or this previous bottom right around 69, or you might just come back down to that area that we almost tagged, right? Right around here. We just move this up. Right around 76, and then ROKU could be taking off in a 3 of 3, but the market needs to hold. The markets need to hold up once we do pull back. Okay. Again, it's had an amazing run so far. From the lows here to its highs, it's up 73%. So it's nothing to complain about on ROKU. So everything should be going along well there. Taking a look at PayPal. PayPal's struggling a little bit. It's trying to take off. We'll have to see if it can get its move this week. It's a holiday week, right? So it's naturally light volume. SPY only had 63 million shares, I believe, or 60 million, if even that. Oh, 70 million. So it's okay, but I think before the close, we were trading at 3 o'clock. We only had like 40 million shares traded, so extremely light volume day, and that's markets have a natural bias towards the upside when that happens. So yeah, the 1 hour should keep going up, and the 45. You should keep going up. If not, you need to hold this base here at 56 and not go below 55. And again, the target should be 60. Let me take a look at Apple here. So Apple moved up its wave 2 essentially, and it's just a very complicated correction now. Something like that. Into WXY maybe, or something like this. It's I don't know what to make of it right now, but essentially it's just a larger pattern, and then something like that. So that's what should happen to Apple. I don't know what it'll do to what the market needs to do for that to happen, but overall that should be your count, and it's essentially just an expanded flat, and then you come back down. And then we got some levels at $90, or I think $100 now. If if this should start to happen. But the melt up scenario can very well keep going up. And I mean, I think we had some news today as well that hedge funds were the most long in history. Right now at the highs too, they're all getting long, which is kind of a warning sign. I don't like to hear those things when we're at tops. But overall, we'll have to see. I mean, like you heard the same thing on the S&P 500 with the record amount of puts being open at the lows here, and then we gapped down and we just rallied up. So maybe we'll have like a gap up day and we'll just sell off down. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Microsoft, I think we just took a look at Microsoft. Let me take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA made actually a new high today, right at 503. Stretching the wave two, to be honest, would really be forcing things at this point. You can do that, but now what would happen is that this is your new this would be your new fifth wave high, and this is just a very complicated correction, and then you should start to come back down. You're gonna have some really big resistance in NVIDIA coming in at 520 to like 530, right around that area. You're gonna run into some pretty massive resistance. Even though we're in price discovery mode, you have a lot of upsloping trend lines, and then you had the overnight print at 525. But overall, earnings are tomorrow after the close. I think record amounts of calls are being bought right now on NVIDIA as well, because everyone's betting on better than expected earnings, better guidance. So again, the gamma is like at the $500 level. So we'll have to see if it does anything after earnings or if it drops or whatever. But overall, this was the count for NVIDIA. And if it does start to come back down, then this is what should have happened. If not, then you have an extended fifth wave, and then you just keep going higher, right? And let's take a look at Tesla. So Tesla is obviously struggling a little bit. It's not doing as well, and you actually came back up to 250 at one point, and now you're just relaxing at 236. But overall, you should still be coming back down in a larger pattern of a C wave, and eventually it will. But we'll have to see. ChargePoint and all these EV stocks are just doing just doing terrible. You have so much bad news in the EV sector right now, especially when it comes to energy. Right, when you see energy decline this much, the EV sector will be impacted. Right. Let me take a look at. I don't think I have any more here to take a look at. I think someone asked me to take a look at PPOS or something like that. PPAS. Oh, I don't know. I forget what the stock was, but they'll put it in the Discord once again. Again, you guys can join the Discord. I'm posting some trade setups there for you guys all the time. So yeah, overall right now, just watching the markets. If it does go higher on the IWM, then you just stop out of your trade. It's as simple as that, and then you just wait, right? Because I wouldn't be chasing this right here. We entered our calls at the lows. We obviously sold way too early. I did not expect this huge FOMO and panic buying all over the place. I didn't anticipate this. This is going far beyond my expectations at this point. But overall, we haven't taken out the July highs on the S&P 500. We have taken out the July highs on the triple Qs, right? So that's why it opens the door now to a potential melt up to new all-time highs in the QQQ and the SPY, everything. It opens the door up to everything. But the bearish scenario is still there on the SPY because you haven't taken out the July highs. If you're able to take out the July highs, then yeah, maybe this bearish pattern is invalidated now, and you have to factor in that the only possibility might be a potential melt up to 510 to 520 on the S&P 500. At which point, once we do get to that level, it's just going to be a full-on blown disaster, and we're going to come back down in a very big crash wave. And this is the scenario that I really did not want to play out. I actually wanted just a potential correction like this, and we come back down to maybe the $3,200 levels, and we might stop there. Or if the worst case, then we go back to the 2200s on the S&P. But overall, if this scenario plays out, which is the bullish scenario, where we melt up and it becomes a full-on panic buying squeeze, short squeeze, and everyone gets long, then that's just a huge setup for the markets to go much lower, and then it's gonna go way past the 2008 lows, and you're gonna go like almost down to like 150, 160 on the S&P 500. And again, this is all associated with high interest rates, money printing, lots of geopolitical events, right? And again, you just look at history, and none of the times where they printed tons and tons of money and then just started to raise rates ever played out well for the economy or the stock market. You can have periods where it detaches and no one cares about anything and they just keep buying. But once they do care, then that's when it's kind of over for the markets, right? And it's a everyone's exiting the door all at once. But then that's what causes market crashes and panic selling. VIX is set up for a potential pop. Again, it's back into its support level here between 1410 to 1250. We had some higher levels here, but they didn't hold. And once we saw that, then you don't want to get in the way of the S&P because it's just going to keep floating up and melting up because the VIX is getting crushed right now, right? You are seeing a lot of buying on VIX, VXX, UVIX, and a UVXI because either hedge funds or smart money are buying protection because this move is scaring them as well because this is a very parabolic, very euphoric. Everyone's getting on one side of the trade, everyone's getting long, and what happens is you have pullbacks, and the pullbacks get very violent once you get this extended. The same thing happens to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Once you go very parabolic and you keep going, the pullbacks are extremely violent, right? 10% drops in 7 days. Although this is crypto, right? So it's not 100% the same thing, but you kind of get the idea, right? Nothing goes up in a straight line. It can go up for a while, but you're gonna do some backing filling. Okay, that wraps it up for now. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'll keep giving you guys updates inside the Discord and on YouTube. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like. Peace.